This is Dr. Quinlan with Quinlan Chiropractic Clinic from Coppell, Texas, and you're listening to the Dunham Business Radio Show.
Live from Arlington, Texas, it's the Dunham Business Radio Show. And here's your host, Lori Dunham.
Hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Dunham Business Radio Show. I'm your host, Lori Dunham. Thank you again for tuning in and joining us tonight. It's a great night, and we have a great guest for you. We always have the best of the best come, and we're getting to the point now where we're not having to even go out and ask people; they're coming to us. So it's great, right? It's a wonderful platform for entrepreneurs and small businesses, and the show is a success only because of you, because of everything that you do. You like our page, you share our events, you share our videos, you comment, you post, you're just amazing, and I truly am so grateful for you. So thank you so much for tuning in again. Be sure to ping your friends, let them know that we are here, and if you have some comments or questions for our guests, we've got some great information to share with you, and they want to engage, so get ready to do that. And even if you're watching this video after the show has aired, go ahead and type in the box replay, and also add the day that you're watching it, because I would like to just identify when our videos being seen more often. So just let me know what day you're watching it, and maybe where you're from. Let me know. We're in many countries right now, and I just want to stay in touch with you and where we are. So anyway, that's a little bit of housekeeping to get us started. Super excited to have our guest on here tonight. And let me go ahead and introduce you to him. His name is Jude Wilson. He is the Chief Wealth Strategist at Centrus Financial Strategies. He has over 24 years of retirement planning experience and an advisor with Clarity to Prosperity. Tonight, he's going to share some important information that you need to know about retirement strategies. So please help me welcome to the show, Jude Wilson. Welcome.
I am so excited to be here, Lori. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate you coming out and spending time with the whole audience worldwide.
And you have done such a fabulous job building your audience. I'm so excited for you. And, I was listening to the music before we got started. I was actually dancing in my seat. I won't do it now that the camera's live, but I was dancing.
Well, it's okay. We can dance here. We're good. I make a joke. I do the white girl overbite.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, we have fun. No, there's several things that happen on this show. If you anyone who's listened for a long time, they know there's fun and laughter, because if it's not fun, we just stop doing it. Like if we're
Absolutely.
not having fun, we're doing it wrong,
Absolutely.
And we have Dunhamisms, which is things that I make up, that are words that I make up that didn't exist before. We're writing our own dictionary. We have Loriisms, which are little things that Lori thinks are to be true, which may or may not be.
Okay.
And then we have corny jokes. So you can always expect a corny joke.
I love corny jokes.
Yeah, I love those. Do you have a corny joke you want to share?
Oh my God. If I share this, my wife is going to she's going to be totally embarrassed, but let's do it anyway. So,
yay, it's Embarrass the Wife Day. Yeah.
So it's the only corny joke I know. I learned it when I was in third grade, and I've been saying it ever since.
Oh God.
So what did the potato chip say to the battery?
What did the potato chip say to the battery?
Yes.
What?
If you're ever ready, I'm free to lay. It's the worst corny joke ever, but that's all I know.
Thank God that you're not a comedian.
I would not be making any money.
That's why you went into wealth strategies, so you can make up for that joke.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, though. Thank you for sharing that. That's great. I love having fun. So that's great. So let's talk about your past. You don't have to go all the way to the third grade,
Okay.
but kind of tell everybody who you are and how did you get started in wealth management?
Well, it started at a really early age when I started thinking about money. See, I'm the youngest of 9. My parents are Haitian immigrants who came to this country, like the great American story, looking for a better life for their kids. In fact, I stopped counting at over 35 nieces and nephews. Lori, when your folks are Caribbean, Catholic, and have no cable, that's a formula for having a big family.
That's another corny joke.
So maybe I have 2. But, growing up, though, I really didn't realize that we were poor because we had such a close family and we were really rich in love. It didn't hit me until one day I came home from school. I was so excited to tell my dad I had won an award in gym, and it was the Presidential Fitness Challenge. I don't even think they do them anymore, so I'm showing my age. But I get home, I'm thrilled. I can't wait to tell my dad. I want him to be proud of me. I bust through the door. I say, Mom, where's Dad? She said, son, he's getting ready to leave to go to work. I ran to the garage and he was just pulling out, and I said, Pop, wait. And he rolls down his window and he says, son, I'm late for work. I don't have time. I'll talk to you later. And I was just crushed. And then it just kind of hit me, all of the things that I had not really seen before. My dad was working 2 jobs. I know if I didn't talk to him before he left, that I wasn't going to see him until the next day. Because by the time I went to bed, he'd be coming home. And by the time I woke up to go to school, he'd be leaving to his second job. And I started to realize and see things that I never saw before in my house. Like, why were all our groceries in black and white packages? We did not have money. And I just started at that time to think, I want to learn the game of money. And not only do I want to learn it, I want to master it, and I want to teach other people, because financial freedom should be something that everyone should be able to strive for.
Absolutely. Wow, what an amazing story. And it's interesting, of all the entrepreneurs we talked to, we've done over 150 interviews, and they always go back to a moment in their past. And some are very young, some are high school, college, whatever, but they always go back to that moment, that epiphany, if you will. Maybe we'll just start calling it the epiphany moment here on the show.
Loriism.
Yeah, there you go. That's it, an epiphany moment. Yeah, and that's where they kind of get this spurt, this brain spurt that says, I could have a different kind of life. I don't have to have what I've been getting. I can make something different. I can create something deliberately. And that's through hard work, education, alignment with who you are, all of that, right?
Yeah. And in fact, my dad had what he called the foundation for. It was family, faith, hard work, education. And he would say, son, if you truly believe in the foundation for, it can take you anywhere anywhere you'd like to go. And so that's what I've believed my whole life. And fortunately, it's panned out.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fortunate for all of us, right? It's interesting when I think about the scenario that you described, I wonder if you ever had to make a decision between wealth and financial freedom, education, and that path, or psychotherapy.
Yeah.
Helping young kids overcome the crushing defeat of their parents not listening to them,
Yeah, my folks, because they didn't have very much of an education, really their financial plan were putting all their faith in their kids to be successful. Fortunately, that worked out, but we were their retirement plan. And I think now, I use my education not only to help other people, but to make sure that they have a real path to getting to financial freedom.
Do you have a sister named Ira?
I like that. I like Ira a lot.
A brother named Roth.
I was about to say, and her cousin named Roth. Exactly.
You said 9 brothers and sisters, so come on.
Yeah.
You got to have them in there somewhere. You have an uncle named Sam.
Yeah, and Uncle Sam takes a lot out.
We all have Uncle Sam, right?
Exactly.
So let's talk about your business journey a little bit there. You went to school and all that. Everybody does that, right, for the most part. But after you graduated college, why wealth strategies? Why not just accounting, CPA, bookkeeper, educator?
Yeah. I met a gentleman when I was in high school who gave a speech about success, and it just hit me. This guy, he was dressed really well. He spoke excellently, and afterwards I went to him and I asked him what did he do for a living, and he said he was a stockbroker. Back then they didn't call themselves financial advisors. And he mentored me for the next, about 10 years, mentoring me and helping me learn about the industry. And so as soon as I got out of college, I went into learning about wealth strategies and becoming a financial advisor.
You touched on something that's so important. As an entrepreneur, you have to have mentors. So many times entrepreneurs want to put on all these different hats and do all the different roles because they might be a solopreneur at first, exactly. Right? Or they might be a 1-person, 2-person shop, and they're just barely, splitting the responsibilities. Well, you did that yesterday, and now I have to do it today, or whatnot. And so having a mentor, somebody who's been down that road, they understand all of the pitfalls, but they understand how you can navigate through all of that. Mentorship is so important. And I think even, our show, we really advocate for mentorship of the younger generation.
Yeah.
And reaching out to the college kids and even the biz kids that we have on once a month, to show them the industry where they want to go. And right. I think you've got an excellent path where you were once mentored, and now do you feel like maybe somewhere down the line you'll mentor others? Oh,
absolutely. I mentor kids now, both in high school and in college.
Oh, okay, cool.
For me, with my mentor, he was at a major firm, national-wide firm. I won't say the name, but one of the biggest pieces of advice that he gave me was that in the financial services industry, you can have people that are all the way from mercenaries to missionaries. Mm-hmm. And in the company that he worked for, there was a lot of mercenaries. And he said, Jude, you really want to be that person in the middle where you have a good business, because everybody's in business to make money, but you're really helping people. Mm-hmm. And you're giving them value, and you're directing them to help them achieve their own goals. And, Lori, I got to tell you, in the beginning, it wasn't easy. In our industry, as financial advisors, there's a 92% failure rate in the first 5 years.
92%?
92% failure rate.
Wow.
And so if you make it past 5 years, you're doing something right. Fortunately, I've been in the industry 24 years, and I started at a large firm. And like my mentor told me, I realized that working for a big company, it was more about getting people in the door, selling a product, than really giving true financial advice. And I made a promise to myself that one day I was going to start my own business where it would really be about financial planning and giving good advice, and then leading that to whatever the client needed to fulfill that plan. So
really, I'm hearing you say you're a heart-centered advocate.
Oh, 100%. I'm going to steal that. I like that. If you see that on my website next week, you'll know.
That's one of those Loriisms again.
I love it.
It's not yet a Dunhamism, because a Dunhamism is a word, where Loriism is a concept. So
I'm starting to see the difference now.
Yeah. So let's talk about those folks out there who say, I'm in a business, and I started a business because I wanted time freedom, financial freedom, legacy for my family, all the whys that we hear.
Right.
And so they say, let's talk about the entrepreneur who's like 1 to 5 years in, and they're like, look, I'm barely able to pay the bills with my business, right? I still have a job. Maybe my business is my side hustle, or maybe I've taken the leap into entrepreneurship and I've been doing it 1 to 5 years, but I'm barely breaking even. I'm just over that hurdle. I don't see myself as wealthy yet. So I don't need a strategist for my wealth because I don't have it. And I know that's a whole mindset thing. Like, you can have it if you think it. Yeah. That's another show, right?
Yeah, I get it.
But they look at the books and they go, I'm still in the red. Yeah. How can I even think about strategizing for wealth when I don't even have any money to pay this guy?
Yeah, I completely get it, because there's a difference between the vision and what's in the bank account. Yes. And so you can have the vision, but what's in the bank account is really real. And so I was there when I started my business in 2009. I joke around that I really probably could have made more money working at McDonald's than being a business owner at the time. But I was really blessed. Like you said, it was all about hard work, persistence, and pursuing the goal. And over the next 3 to 4 years, we just started to snowball. The business started to build. And so I would say for those people who are experiencing something similar, that you're right. You're putting all your resources into the business right now. But there's a wonderful book out there called Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. And he believes, just as you said, the business owner went into the business for all of these reasons, but treats himself last. And his mentality is that the business owner should treat themselves first. And so he has 5 accounts that he wants the business owner to establish. And the first account, you could probably guess, is the profit account. And so you should be moving toward allocating an amount of money toward your profit. It's kind of backwards from the normal accounting that we think of. And allocating that money toward profit, and then putting yourself first, and then strategically looking at the business on how you can either reduce expenses so that everything fits underneath that. And what magically will happen, because this is what happened to me. I was 5 years into my business before I read this book, Profit First, and I paid myself last. I paid my assistant, I paid my marketer first, and whatever was left over. When I switched my mentality to say, wait a minute, I've got to pay myself first. I've got to make sure we have profit in the business. Then I started to see, well, I could cut this. Maybe I can wait till later to invest in that. And then that cash flow started to happen and started to build on itself. And so I would say to your listeners out there, 1, you might want to read the book, but 2, think about putting yourself first. And once you see that cash flow, you really do need to start to talk to someone. It doesn't have to be me. You talk to someone about the long-term strategy and how to make sure that money is working for you.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. And I would say those of us who go back to your foundation of 4, those that have a strong faith, the first 10% goes to God, because he can turn that all around like that. And then the other 10% goes to you. And then the other 80% actually goes to your operating expense. And of course, I'm not a financial advisor, but there is one on the show. And if I'm wrong, and he'll,
No, you got it. I hate to prop Mike Michalowicz up because I'm not getting anything from it, but it's a great.
We'll send him this video, and
exactly. He'll give me an affiliate link. But just to give you an abbreviated version of the book, you should set up your revenue account, your profit account, your operating account, your tax account, and your owner's comp account. If you have those 5 accounts, and you read the book, it'll tell you what percentage based on your business and years of experience you should be thinking about putting. Every dollar should be divided into those accounts.
Wow. So there's no like fancy purse account or Maserati account, yacht account.
No, my wife, she takes that right out of the profit account. I'm really gonna get killed today because she's gonna see this. You told a corny joke and you made me sound like I buy fancy purses. I'm dead.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with buying fancy purses. I think the fancy purse manufacturer is gonna be, sponsoring this show.
So. Right. Glad to help out.
I have a little jar on my dresser. It's called the boat fund. And it's a little, it looks like a sack. It's a ceramic image, right? It's a ceramic holder. And it looks like a sack you would carry over your shoulder, but it sits on my dresser and it's filled with pennies.
Okay,
I'm going to buy a penny yacht one day.
There you go. You got to start somewhere, right?
I'm going to buy a yacht with nothing but pennies. I'm going to love the banking industry is going to love me when I turn in, $20 million in pennies.
Yeah, you're not going to be their favorite person.
I'm going to hire a VA to roll them all for me.
There you go. Work smart, not hard.
That's right. That's the key. Yeah. So when somebody's in a position to be able to start using your services, what's one way for them to get prepared or to even ask themselves, the question of, okay, I'm ready. At what threshold can they say, Jude, I need your help. Let's take a look at my numbers.
Yeah, we in general have two sets of clients. We have clients that have a good cash flow, but haven't built up a high net worth yet. And then we have other clients who they've been on this journey for a while. So they've built up a pretty good net worth. And at some point, they're going to change that net worth to start to replace their cash flow. They're going to retire from doing the business or the 9 to 5. And so those people who've built up that net worth, they need my help because they need to know how to take that net worth and create income for life. So they have, income that doesn't run out before their life runs out. Now, the other group who are on the journey, they're not struggling in that first 5 years that we talked about. They actually have excess cash flow. They also need my help because, like you talked about, Uncle Sam is knocking at their door, and whatever they do for a living, financial planning is not their profession. So they may not be using all the tax strategies to try to reduce their taxable liability. And even though I love my CPA friends, sometimes CPAs are rear view looking. They just tell you on April 15th, this is what you owe, instead of being proactive and saying, hey, Lori, let's talk about this cash flow. Next year, if we don't do something, you may have to write a big check. So let's look at some of the strategies that we can do now. So to answer your question directly, if someone has a consistent cash flow that they feel that they can invest above and beyond their living expenses, then we need to start talking. Or if you're getting close to the end of your journey, you're thinking about, slowing down or selling the business and want to kind of figure out, how do I make this money last for the rest of my life? Or how do I sell the business and make sure I don't have huge capital gains? Those are the type of people that we need to talk to.
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes when people say, I don't have enough cash flow from revenue coming in, what are some other strategies that I could use? And I first think, well, let's reduce your expenses, because you reduce your expenses, that's cash right back in your pocket.
Exactly.
And, there's certain things you have to buy anyway, right? Insurance, electricity, telephone. I mean, you have to buy it anyway, but why not get it at a lower price, right? So if there's a way to reduce the expenses that puts cash back in your pocket, then that actually moves them closer to calling you on the phone saying, hey, I got some extra money, help me out.
Exactly. In fact, what we do when a client first engages us is we have a proprietary process we call the GPS Wealth Navigator. It stands for Guidance, Planning, and Solutions. So it's a complete analysis of everything that's going on in their financial life, because they could be losing dollars unknowingly and unnecessarily. And like you said, every dollar saved is a penny earned. And so when we take clients through that process, sometimes they're surprised to figure out, wait a minute, there's excess cash here that's going out the door, and that's opportunity cost that could be benefiting them in the future. So the GPS Wealth Strategy, the GPS Wealth Navigator, is one of our processes. And in that process, we believe that one of the biggest expenses is taxes. And I'm not one of these conspiracy theorists that believes that, there's some unwritten rule that you don't have to pay taxes. We all have to pay taxes. Nobody likes it, but it's like eating your vegetables. And so the key is not paying a penny more than you legally have to pay.
Yes.
Not trying to create some offshore account in the Cayman Islands, but using using all of the rules and regulations that are available, but may be unknown to you, that are known to specialists like myself.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, and actually, there's someone in our network, and they sponsor the show sometimes, and they'll always say, I'm going to give her a shout out because she needs to know that she's getting talked
Absolutely.
about. But her name Taryn Tax Pro, and she always says, we all have to pay taxes, but there's no law that says we have to leave a tip.
I love it. I hope she doesn't have that copywritten. I might use that one too.
She does. It's hers. It's hers. You can't steal it. Yeah. Taryn Tax Pro. So if you need another tax pro in your network, she'd be an amazing person to add. So I just plugged her. She had no idea I was going to say that. So
well, we love working with other professionals, so that's great.
She focuses on taxes, so she's more than a CPA. She just like what you're talking about, the difference. Yeah, she's right there. So she's definitely someone to have in your network. So
awesome.
Let me know. I'll connect you guys. I think she'd love working with you. So anybody would working with both of you, right?
There you go.
But let's talk about where you actually practice. Are you able to work with clients throughout the country?
Yes. In fact, we have our home offices in Orlando, Florida, where I live. We have another office in Bradenton, Florida. And some people may not be familiar with Bradenton, but they know where Tampa is. It's not too far from Tampa, or between Tampa and Sarasota, Florida. But yet we have clients in 38 states.
Wow.
So for most states, we can work with people, and all they need to do is just contact us.
Do you work with like just the federal guidelines? Do you go down to the state guidelines in those areas?
That's a great question. So most of the time we're looking at federal, because those are laws that apply to all of us.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we live in Florida, so there's not a state income tax. But we have clients who live in states that have a state income tax. And sometimes some of the things that we apply can work on both levels.
Do you prefer to work with certain revenue thresholds where they've met a certain amount every year of revenue?
Yeah, we in general, we like to work with people that are either going to put away a consistent amount of money that we can help them build that net worth with. And so we look at people that can at least be putting away somewhere in the vicinity of $40,000-$50,000 a year, or people who have already built somewhat of a nest egg. People who have $200,000 or more that they've saved either in a 401k or IRA, 403b, or just a regular investment account. So that's typically, but what happens when someone contacts us, we have what we call a right fit meeting. And in that meeting, it's a free 15 minutes just to talk about their situation. And if we can help them, we tell them honestly, we can help you. And if we can't help them, we tell them honestly, you may need to look at another resource, and here are some places that you could possibly contact. In fact, I had a meeting like that yesterday with a gentleman that we just weren't a good fit, but I gave him some resources and he was thrilled.
Wow. Yeah. See, that's the advocacy there, the advocate, where you're not just looking to pocket a client, but if you can't help them, you do refer them to a quality resource. So I commend you on that. That's very rare sometimes in our industries.
Yeah, and I love to do that. In fact, sometimes my assistant beats me up because I'm an educator at heart. And so that right fit meeting is only supposed to be 15 minutes. I don't think I've had a 15-minute right fit meeting. It's usually a half an hour, because I'm so into the person that calls and wanting to know their story and how they got here and what are their fears and their goals. And if I can't help them, I want to put them someplace that can. So I'm just a passionate sucker when it comes to that.
You just described our show.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's why we get along so well.
That's right. That's right. We're kindred spirits here.
Exactly.
So I know that in our current economy, a lot of people are scratching their heads like, what has COVID done to my tax preparation? It's got to be a nightmare for you guys right now.
Yeah, COVID has been detrimental in many different ways, but one of the things that is unique about this time period is Congress and the president put into effect something called the CARES Act to kind of help people who are struggling during this time period. And we don't know if the CARES Act is going to go into the next year or not, but there's some provision there that your audience may want to know about. For instance, if you're struggling and you have a 401k or an IRA, previous to the CARES Act, if you weren't in retirement or older than 59 and a half, you'd have to pay a 10% penalty and you'd have to pay taxes on the money that you took out if you decided to tap into that account. But because of the CARES Act, you can take money out of your 401k or IRA, waive the 10% penalty, and you can spread the income tax burden over 3 years if necessary, or you can pay it all in 1 year. And so it's important if you're having some financial struggles, or, I usually tell people not to use their retirement account to fund their business. I'm going to tell you a little secret. I made that mistake myself. When I started my business in 2009, I didn't have a lot of resources. I tapped into my 401k. But at the time, I had to pay all of the penalties because there was no CARES Act. So if someone unfortunately has been let go, laid off, you're thinking about starting a new business and wondering how can they fund it, they may want to think about during this time where the CARES Act is in place, using that as a resource. Now, that's not a recommendation. I got to be clear. I'm just letting people know that that could be a resource that they need to look into.
What are some other things that your 401k can be used for outside of starting a business without this penalty in place?
Yeah, one of the best places to use your 401k other than retirement is to borrow money from the 401k. One, if your company allows a borrowing provision, it's going to be at a very, very low interest rate. And two, you're paying yourself back. And that's another provision in the CARES Act that you could only, before the CARES Act, borrow a maximum of $50,000 from your 401k. But now, because of the CARES Act, you can borrow up to $100,000. And so we started the conversation by saying some people are doing their business and they have a side hustle. Well, if your full-time job has a 401k and a loan provision, but you're doing a side hustle and you need some money, you may look into the loan provision at your company.
So you can be your own bank, so to speak.
Exactly. But I got to tell people, because we're in a once in a lifetime unique situation today. Taxes, even though we feel nobody likes to pay taxes, the tax rates that we have right now are some of the lowest rates since pre-World War II. And because of the fact that the government is spending a lot of money, some of it is legitimate, some of it, we can argue is probably not legitimate. But the stimulus package was put into effect this year, and our deficit is increasing rapidly. So it's created this situation where it's not only predictable, but it's more than likely going to happen where taxes are going to rise in the future. And so I call this the ticking tax time bomb. And there's things that people need to know and start working to be proactive in this situation instead of reactive when taxes go up.
So if you don't have a 401k, what are some other things you can do to be proactive so that come next year, you're not in a bad situation with these new rates or whatever might come? Yeah.
So one of the things that I look at is what we call the order of money. Money comes in one of three funnels. And we have this, we show this to our clients. We call it the order of money diagram. You've either received money that you haven't paid taxes on and you put it in your 401k. That's pre-tax dollars.
Mm-hmm.
It stays in that funnel and it's not taxed while it's in the funnel. But then when you pull it out of the funnel, it's fully taxed at whatever tax rates are. Yeah, exactly. Boom. The next funnel is the post-tax funnel. You've already paid taxes on it in your 1099 or W-2. It goes into the funnel where you're putting it in an investment account or a savings account, and you're going to get a 1099. So it's taxed while it's in the funnel. And if if it's appreciated and you go to sell it, you're going to have to pay capital gains tax. So that's the pre-tax funnel. Again, boom. And now what you were getting at is what I call the tax advantage funnel. Money comes in post-taxed. It goes into the funnel and you put it in a Roth IRA or Roth 401k, and I'll tell you exactly what that is. It's not taxed while it's in that funnel. And when you take it out, it's completely tax-free. That's the tax advantage funnel. And so
I like that funnel.
That's my favorite funnel too. See, we're on the same page. We tell our clients, you need to have a proportion of money that's customized to you in each one of the funnels. And so if you don't have a 401k, if you're a solo business owner, or you have a business, but you have employees, you can either open up a Roth, ROTH, Roth IRA, which is that tax advantage funnel. You can open up one individually for yourself and your spouse, or you can open up its cousin, a Roth 401k within the business. And one of the things I've helped solo entrepreneurs do that most of them didn't know is that you can create your own individual 401k because you're a solo business owner. There's so many creative ways of funding that, but you've got to know the rules and the regulations. So we help people with that.
I'm intrigued. You know, I've heard of Roth IRA, but I've never heard of Roth 401k.
Yeah.
And you know, with so many entrepreneurs listening today, I mean, that's an amazing strategy. So that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, we've helped quite a few people because in that last strategy, you really have to understand the rules and regulations because you can really hurt yourself with the IRS if you don't do it correctly.
Absolutely. So as people are out there looking at different providers, I mean, you know, financial planners seem to be around every corner.
Yes.
You know, tax pros and CPAs around every other corner. What are some really good things, like maybe 3 or 4 things they can look for to say, you know, this dude knows what he's talking about. I'm going to really work with him the best. Yeah,
I love that question because I believe there are people out there that are calling themselves financial advisors when they're really financial salespeople. And so I want people first and foremost to look for someone that has some type of certification. It could be a CFP, CWS, but know that they've got some advanced training and they didn't just put out a sign one day and say, I'm a financial advisor. That's the first thing. The second thing is if they have a securities license, they can actually go to a website called brokercheck.org, and you can put in someone's name and you can find out if they've ever had a lawsuit filed against them or any complaints filed against them.
Wow.
But lastly, and more importantly, I think, is to ask friends and family, you know, who do you work with? Why do you work with them? And I said that was the last thing, but really this one is the last thing. If you meet with someone, understand what their philosophy is. If they are going to put together a plan for you and not just say, you know what, Lori, you got $100,000 here. Why not we just invest it in this mutual fund or this annuity? The moment someone starts talking product instead of a actual plan that they can do some analysis for, run the other direction. And so that's why we strongly believe in our firm that any recommendation without a plan is like a doctor giving a prescription without analysis. It's malpractice.
Oh, I like that analogy a lot. Yeah. Oh, okay. So my idea generator is firing on all cylinders now. So. But yeah, I think too, you know, people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. Yeah. But when it comes to your money, you do have to do business with people you know, like, and trust. But when it comes to your money, you also want them to be an advocate for your vision, your purpose, and your plan. So We'll just add that little
100%.
A on the end of that.
100% agreed.
Yeah.
You and I are on the same page.
I can feel it. I can feel it going back and forth. Yeah. So listen, if you got questions for Jude, please put them in the comments down here below. He's going to be engaging with us and watching that comment box over the next couple of days. You know, this is a really important subject. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Jude can help you. I get that sense about this guy. He knows what he's talking about. And, you know, I would love for him to engage with you. So you have comments or questions. And if your questions are like really super personal to your particular financial strategy, Jude, where can they send an email or reach out to you directly to ask those questions?
Well, they can go to our website. It's Centrus, F as in Frank, S as in Sam.com. Centrus Financial Strategies is the name of the company. They can go to the website and there's a link there where they can ask questions. But specifically for your guests, we've done something that we wanted to make sure that we gave back. So you can go to judewilson.com /Durham Business, and we have the Entrepreneur Guide. And so it's going to have 5 tips and tricks about the ticking tax time bomb that we talked about today.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And in addition, we're also going to give away a one-seater that talks about the CARES Act that we talked about today. That'll be there too.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's judewilson.com /Dunham Business.
Dunham Business. And
that's fantastic. Thank you. I had no idea you were going to do that. It's Christmas. I love it.
It's all about being an advocate, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right. Thank you so much. And I encourage everybody, go there, get your free guide. And then if you got questions, reach back out to Jude, because I think he really cares about all of us, right? So he's our advocate. And
the last thing I'll say is, you know, if somebody wants to do a right fit call, they can also go to the website. We typically, it's 15 minutes to kind of ask some questions. And and so it could be with myself or one of our associates. And we're going to really try to keep it to 15 minutes.
Somewhere between 15 minutes and an hour. And so, Jude, I'm going to put you in the hot seat. Not that you felt hot up to this moment, but I think you can handle it. We ask all of our guests to give a wisdom nugget back to our audience, something that maybe you've learned along the way, or some guidance, something that they can find inspiration and hope along their entrepreneurial journey. So what say you? Okay, well, this is one that people have probably heard of before, but it has inspired me because we all have struggles along the journey. No one says, I'm going to start a business, and automatically the next day they're Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos. There's a journey that we all have to go through. And I heard this when I was a teenager. It said, fall down 7, get up 8. And you know, I've had my struggles along the way. I opened my business in 2009. That was the beginning of the financial crisis. I didn't know it was coming. I left a nice paying job. I had just purchased a home, and I made the least amount of money that year that I had made as an adult. But to fall and get back up and have faith, and to be willing to research, be willing to learn, be willing to adapt. You can't just go in a straight line and think it's going to work out. You've got to be willing to research, learn, and adapt. You'll make it then. Just, you have to have faith, but you've got to do those things also. Wow, that is an amazing wisdom nugget. So yeah, take that with you, put it in your pocket. Anyone who's been listening to this show should have a full baggage full of nuggets. It should be getting really heavy to carry around now. And don't worry, we're going to keep putting them out there because we want you to be successful. That's what this show is all about. We are a platform for your business. So if there's a subject or a topic that you want to hear about, or maybe there's a guest that you want to have come on the show, you know, we want to engage with you. So let us know, what do you need in your business? Send us an email at DunhamBusinessRadio@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. So that's going to wrap it up for this week. But until next week, stay on top of the world, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Dunham Business Radio Show. Be sure to follow us at Dunham Business Radio and check out DunhamBusinessRadio.com for more info.
I'm on top of the world and now I'm living, and the good just gets better, keeps on giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter, yeah. And it's a good, I won't even worry anymore. Took all my cares, took and kicked them all out the door.